All right, so let's talk about file transfer protocol because you're going to have to use it for transferring files from your computer to the server where your live website is hosted. Okay, so file transfer protocol, really all it is it's just a way for you to transfer files from one place to another. It's like kind of like you're approaching the back end of your website. Some places will allow you to do anonymous. I have yours actually set up with passwords so that you're the only one who can change your files outside of me, and I can delete your files. Okay, so with that being said, the domain that we have is lickingheights.org. And if you go to that, nothing's going to show up. Now, you guys have a subdomain, and that's what we see here, a subdomain to lickingheights.org. So if I went and typed that in, redbeardtest.lickingheights.org, you'll get a forbidden message. And that's really just because you actually have no files in there. But that website is created. So you will have an email in your inbox that is going to give you detailed information about your account. Here, the subdomain, this is your website address. So once everything's loaded up, this is what you're going to be typing in as the URL to be able to access. This information right here is the information that you need for when you're using a program that is using file transfer protocol or FTP to be able to put your files in there. Okay, so we use FileZilla. I'll show you what it looks like. This is on your desktop. You pretty much just open it up and you're going to walk through and set it up. Okay, now this is the website that I'm loading up, that I'm going to throw up and make it live. So let's go into look back. Okay, so the domain, that's going to be the host for the FTP, and then you're going to have your username, which is in here with the @ at lickingheights.org. You're going to have a password and then the port that you're going to connect to. Now, I should mention that as you do this, there are a limited amount of ports that the server is going to accept. So if everybody in the classroom tries to do it, only about 10 people are going to be able to access it at any given time. So when you guys start loading your stuff and you do get a connection, you need to quickly transfer your files, and then you need to disconnect from the server so someone else can connect. Okay. Now, because your username and your subdomain name are the same, you need to be very careful with your password, as anybody who has it can gain access and change your website and do whatever they want with your account. Okay, so you want to be protective of your password. I would keep this email because I said that we're hosting your website for a year. So it's created. You'll get a deletion warning in September, and then in November, or whatever the date actually says, your account will be deleted. So in between those times, between the deletion warning and the removal date, you're going to need to log back in using FTP, transfer your files back out, store them wherever you want. If you wanted to host, you could get your own GoDaddy account and then host that way, or however way you wanted to continue having your website longer than just 1 year. Okay, so let's go through. We're going to use this and we're going to set up using FileZilla. Of course, it's not going to let me do it. Do, 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 do. So I'm going to have this open. So we can see with FileZilla. Okay, let me just delete off the stuff so we can see it from scratch. Okay, so if we didn't have FileZilla open, this is what it would look like when we open it, because it's going to, you may end up getting a message the very first time you're doing it. If you have to install it, just let me know, and I will help you install it. Okay, so when we first get it open, there we go. When we first get it open, we're going to have to log in. On the left-hand side, you already see files and stuff there, a folder structure. That's because this is our local computer. On the right-hand side, this is our remote. And what we need to do is we need to connect to a remote server, which is where our live website will be stored and where your account's already set up. So our host, and I'm really just reading off of on here, our host is Licking Heights. Make sure you're spelling it correctly. Our username, it's right here, username for your FTP. And I'm going to do it wrong so you guys can see and don't make that mistake. I'm going to put my password in and the port. And then I go ahead and click Quick Connect. It is going to fail. The reason why it's going to fail is because your username is actually case sensitive. So I have to type it exactly as how I have it in the email. Port 21 and connect. Okay, so now on the right hand side we see that we're connected to the remote site. We see a folder that we're in, and then we see a folder that's inside of it that's called CGI bin. It's mirrored down here, that CGI bin, and then we also see an FTP quota. Do not delete these two files, this file and this folder. You leave them go. If you're nested, let's say you are actually in the CGI bin, you're not going to see anything. So if that's the case, you are actually too deep. You need to be on the main folder, okay? And all we really have to do is we just have to locate our project folder that is the same one that we used for GitHub. If you have everything in one folder, then all you really need to do is just start moving files. Now, I'm not trying to move this whole walkthrough 2 over here. I need to load the files inside it. So because I'm selected on this walkthrough 2 here, it's showing all of the files and folders that I would have for that. So if you have an images folder, that's fine. And really all you need to do is you just are clicking the top one, holding shift, and then clicking the bottom one. Okay. Now I'm not moving that video, but we can just basically drag and drop. It's going to start loading all the files. Once they're done, we can check status. We can see if there was any that failed. We can check for successful transfers. Okay, and that's it. That's it for moving the files. Once you are done, you must disconnect from the server so it will open up for other people to use it, and you just click here. Okay, now we can go and look at our website. And now it's live. This is the website that we would have. We would want to test this on cell phones, on tablets, on a bunch of different cell phones, and make sure that everything looks good. Double check all the links. Make sure that all the pictures are correctly loading. If you have videos, that those are correctly loading. If you have, anything else that's an asset, you want to make sure that that is loading correctly, making sure that your fonts are loading correctly if you're not using Google Fonts. And then if there's something that you need to make a change, because as you start looking at different sizes of screens that this has, you're going to have to make adjustments on your layout. And that's where media queries come in to make things easier. And that's why we set stuff up using Grid and Flexbox, because then we can talk directly to those to change our layouts. So if I wanted to make a change, I would just go open up Atom. I don't need to do it anywhere else. Open up Atom, make those changes, and then I would come back to FileZilla. And if I haven't closed the whole session, I can just reconnect back to that server. I can find the file that I made a change to, drag it over, and then I get this pop-up asking me what I want to do, and I can just choose to overwrite or overwrite if it's newer or whatever I want to do. And then click OK. I'm done. Once it's successful, it says it's successful. I disconnect from the server. I can go ahead and refresh my page and make sure that everything loaded correctly. Okay. If you are having any issues with this being able to correctly connect, the first thing I would do is go back to your email and make sure that you are typing exact case. So use the capital letters for when it has capital letters. Make sure you're carefully looking at your password, okay, and you're typing that in correctly. If if you are able to get in and you did transfer your files and you're still not seeing anything and the files are showing up when you're logging in, I need you to let me know, because I'll have to go in and double check that your account is set up correctly. Okay? Other than that, that is basically all that we have to do to transfer and make our website a live website, is having someone who can host, run a server for us, which we use GoDaddy, and then we had to have the subdomains created and the FTP account that I created for you guys also set up. Okay, so double check that you got your email, make sure that you're looking at that, because that is the first step for you to do the finishing touches on your website. Okay, good luck, have fun.